Captain Maya Rodriguez had always been different from her peers at Edwards Air Force Base. While other pilots grabbed beers after training, she spent her evenings in the flight simulators, running combat scenarios until the maintenance crew kicked her out. Her obsession with perfecting aerial maneuvers earned her the nickname Junkie among her squadron mates, a label that stung more than she let on. Major Bradley Thompson, the squadron leader, never missed an opportunity to remind Maya of her place. During briefings, he would openly mock her simulator hours, claiming that real pilots learned in the cockpit, not behind computer screens. His cronies would snicker when Maya walked by, making jokes about her video game skills. The harassment escalated when Thompson began assigning her to desk duty more frequently, claiming she needed to get her head out of the clouds and into reality. Maya's commanding officer, Colonel James Mitchell, seemed indifferent to Thompson's behavior. When Maya attempted to file complaints about the hostile work environment, Mitchell would dismiss her concerns with patronizing smiles and suggestions that she toughen up if she wanted to survive in a male-dominated field. The message was clear: conform or find another career. The breaking point came during a routine training exercise when Thompson publicly humiliated Maya in front of visiting Pentagon officials. He questioned her qualifications, suggesting that her reliance on simulators indicated a lack of real-world flying ability. The officials looked uncomfortable, but no one intervened. Maya felt her career aspirations crumbling as Thompson painted her as incompetent and overly dependent on technology. That night, Maya sat in her quarters, staring at her flight logs and simulator records. Years of dedication and sacrifice seemed meaningless in the face of institutional bias. She had outperformed many of her male counterparts in technical assessments, but politics and prejudice were overshadowing her achievements. The weight of disappointment pressed down on her shoulders like a physical burden. However, Maya refused to let Thompson's campaign destroy her passion for flying. She doubled down on her simulator training, developing innovative combat strategies that pushed the boundaries of conventional aerial warfare. While others dismissed her methods as theoretical nonsense, Maya was quietly revolutionizing air combat tactics through virtual reality training. Her breakthrough came when she discovered a correlation between specific flight patterns and enemy missile evasion rates. By analyzing thousands of simulated combat scenarios, Maya identified optimal escape routes that could increase pilot survival rates by 30%. She documented her findings meticulously, creating detailed reports that would later prove instrumental in changing military aviation forever. The irony wasn't lost on Maya that her tormentors' dismissal of simulator training was about to become their biggest mistake. While Thompson and his supporters clung to outdated training methods, Maya was pioneering the future of aerial combat. Her dedication to virtual reality training was about to vindicate every hour spent in those simulators, proving that innovation often comes from the most unexpected places. Maya's journey from squadron outcast to aviation pioneer was just beginning. The same simulators that made her a target for mockery would soon become the foundation for a revolution in military flight training. Her story would inspire a new generation of pilots who understood that true expertise comes from embracing technology rather than fearing it. The next morning, Maya walked into the squadron ready to face another day of harassment. She had no idea that events were already in motion that would validate her unconventional approach to flight training. The Pentagon had been quietly monitoring her simulator data, and what they discovered would shock the entire aviation community. Maya's combat patterns weren't just theoretical exercises. They were glimpses into the future of aerial warfare. Her dedication to simulation training had accidentally created a blueprint for next-generation fighter pilot tactics. The very thing that made her a target for ridicule was about to make her a legend in military aviation history. The Pentagon's Advanced Tactical Fighter Program had been struggling with pilot training inefficiencies for months. Traditional training methods were proving inadequate for the F-35 Lightning II's sophisticated systems. Pilots were having difficulty adapting to the aircraft's advanced avionics, leading to costly training delays and safety concerns that threatened the entire program. Dr. Elizabeth Warren, the program's chief training analyst, had been tasked with finding solutions to these challenges. While reviewing training data from various air bases, she stumbled upon Maya's simulator logs from Edwards Air Force Base. The patterns were unlike anything she had seen before, complex maneuvers that seemed to anticipate and counter every possible threat scenario. Maya's virtual combat strategies demonstrated an intuitive understanding of three-dimensional warfare that surpassed veteran pilots with decades of experience. Her simulator sessions revealed tactical innovations that could revolutionize air-to-air combat. Dr. Warren immediately recognized the potential applications for F-35 training protocols. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. The Pentagon was under pressure to justify the F-35 program's massive budget, and pilot training costs were spiraling out of control. Maya's simulator-based approach offered a solution that could reduce training time while improving pilot performance. Her methods represented a paradigm shift in military aviation education. Dr. Warren contacted Colonel Mitchell directly, requesting access to Maya's complete training records. Mitchell was surprised by the Pentagon's interest in what he considered a problematic pilot's obsession with virtual reality training. He reluctantly provided the requested data, unaware that he was about to witness his subordinate's vindication. Meanwhile, Maya continued her daily routine of enduring Thompson's harassment while secretly refining her combat techniques. She had developed a comprehensive training methodology that integrated psychological preparation with tactical execution. Her approach treated aerial combat as a complex problem-solving exercise rather than a simple test of reflexes. The first signs of change came when Pentagon officials began visiting Edwards Air Force Base more frequently. Their questions focused specifically on simulator training protocols and virtual reality applications. Maya noticed increased attention to her training activities, but she remained focused on her work rather than speculating about the reasons. Thompson grew increasingly agitated by the Pentagon's interest in simulator training. He sensed a threat to his authority and doubled down on his criticism of Maya's methods. His attacks became more personal and vindictive, as if he could sense his worldview being challenged by forces beyond his control. Maya's simulator sessions began attracting observers from various military branches. Officers would watch her fly virtual missions with the intensity of scientists studying a breakthrough discovery. Her techniques were being analyzed, documented, and tested by some of the military's most brilliant minds. The validation Maya had sought for years was finally within reach. Her unconventional approach to flight training was about to receive the ultimate endorsement from the highest levels of military leadership. The same methods that made her a target for mockery were about to revolutionize how America trained its fighter pilots. Dr. Warren's preliminary report to Pentagon leadership was nothing short of revolutionary. Maya's simulator-based training methods had achieved performance metrics that surpassed traditional pilot education by significant margins. Her virtual combat strategies could be adapted for F-35 training, potentially saving millions of dollars while improving pilot readiness. The report detailed how Maya's approach addressed the F-35's unique challenges. Her methods integrated the aircraft's advanced systems with human decision-making processes, creating a holistic training experience that prepared pilots for real-world combat scenarios. The implications extended far beyond individual pilot training to encompass entire squadron readiness protocols. Pentagon officials were particularly impressed by Maya's ability to anticipate enemy tactics through simulator training. Her virtual combat scenarios included variables that traditional training ignored, such as electronic warfare interference and multi-threat environments. These innovations could give American pilots decisive advantages in actual combat situations. The decision to implement Maya's training methods across all F-35 squadrons was made at the highest levels of military leadership. Her simulator-based approach would become the foundation for a new generation of fighter pilot education. The girl who had been mocked for her dedication to virtual reality training was about to change military aviation forever. Colonel Mitchell received orders to provide Maya with unlimited access to simulator facilities and support staff. The Pentagon wanted her to develop a comprehensive training program that could be implemented across all air bases. Maya's role was about to shift from squadron outcast to military aviation pioneer. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on Maya's supporters. The same simulators that had made her a target for harassment were now considered essential tools for national defense. Her dedication to virtual reality training had accidentally created the solution to one of the military's most pressing challenges. Maya's vindication was about to become public knowledge. The Pentagon planned to announce her revolutionary training methods at an upcoming military aviation conference. Her story would inspire countless pilots who had been discouraged by traditional training approaches and institutional bias. Thompson's campaign against Maya was about to backfire spectacularly. His attempts to undermine her credibility had only highlighted the effectiveness of her methods. The very behaviors he had criticized were about to be embraced as the future of military aviation training. Maya walked into the squadron briefing room, unaware that her life was about to change forever. Colonel Mitchell stood at the podium with an unusual expression of excitement mixed with embarrassment. Behind him, several Pentagon officials waited with barely contained anticipation. "Ladies and gentlemen," Mitchell began, his voice carrying an unfamiliar tone of respect, "we have received some extraordinary news from Washington. Captain Rodriguez's simulator training methods have been selected for implementation across all F-35 squadrons. Her innovative approach to aerial combat has been recognized as revolutionary by Pentagon leadership." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Maya felt her heart racing as she processed the colonel's words. The same training methods that had made her a target for ridicule were now being praised by the highest levels of military leadership. Her years of dedication and sacrifice had finally been vindicated. Thompson's face turned ashen as he realized the magnitude of his mistake. His campaign against Maya had not only failed, but had highlighted his own ignorance about the future of military aviation. The very methods he had mocked were about to become standard protocol for America's most advanced fighter jets. Dr. Warren stepped forward to address the squadron. "Captain Rodriguez has single-handedly revolutionized fighter pilot training through her innovative use of simulation technology. Her methods will be studied and implemented by military institutions worldwide. She has brought tremendous honor to this squadron and the entire Air Force." Maya struggled to maintain her composure as her colleagues' expressions shifted from skepticism to admiration. The same pilots who had dismissed her as a sim junkie were now looking at her with newfound respect. Her unconventional path to expertise had proven that innovation often comes from unexpected sources. The Pentagon officials outlined their plans for Maya's immediate reassignment to a specialized training development unit. She would lead a team of experts in creating comprehensive simulator-based training programs for F-35 pilots. Her role would involve traveling to air bases worldwide, sharing her revolutionary methods with pilots from different nations. Colonel Mitchell approached Maya privately after the briefing, his expression mixing embarrassment with genuine admiration. "Captain Rodriguez, I owe you an apology. I failed to recognize the value of your training methods and allowed a hostile environment to develop under my command. Your dedication to excellence has made us all better officers." Maya accepted the apology graciously while privately reflecting on the lessons learned. Her experience had taught her that true innovation often requires persistence in the face of skepticism and institutional resistance. The same qualities that made her a target for harassment had ultimately led to her greatest triumph. Thompson's supporters found themselves in an uncomfortable position as they realized their association with his campaign against Maya. They began distancing themselves from his previous statements, claiming they had always respected her dedication to simulator training. The political dynamics of the squadron shifted dramatically overnight. Maya's story spread throughout the military aviation community like wildfire. Her transformation from squadron outcast to Pentagon favorite became an inspiration for pilots who had faced similar challenges. Her experience demonstrated that expertise and innovation could overcome prejudice and institutional bias. The implementation of Maya's training methods began immediately. Simulator facilities at Edwards Air Force Base were upgraded to accommodate her revolutionary protocols. Her virtual combat scenarios became the foundation for F-35 pilot education, potentially saving lives and improving combat effectiveness. Maya's vindication extended beyond personal satisfaction to encompass broader implications for military culture. Her story challenged traditional assumptions about pilot training and demonstrated the value of embracing technological innovation. The same simulators that had made her a target for mockery were now considered essential tools for national defense. Within weeks, Maya found herself at the Pentagon briefing senior military leaders on her training innovations. The same methods that had been dismissed as video game skills were now being studied by the most brilliant minds in military aviation. Her journey from squadron outcast to Pentagon consultant demonstrated the power of perseverance and innovation. Major Thompson watched helplessly as his credibility crumbled around him. His campaign against Maya had not only failed, but had exposed his own limitations as a leader. The officers who had once supported his harassment of Maya now questioned his judgment and competence. Maya's success story began appearing in military publications and aviation journals. Her innovative approach to simulator training was being studied by military institutions worldwide. The girl who had been mocked for her dedication to virtual reality training had become a symbol of innovation and perseverance. The F-35 program's implementation of Maya's training methods exceeded all expectations. Pilot training time was reduced by 40%, while performance metrics improved dramatically. Her virtual combat scenarios prepared pilots for real-world challenges more effectively than traditional training methods. Maya's transformation from squadron outcast to military aviation pioneer was complete. Her story would inspire future generations of pilots who understood that true expertise comes from embracing innovation rather than conforming to outdated traditions. The same simulators that had made her a target for harassment had ultimately led to her greatest triumph. The Pentagon's formal recognition of Maya's contributions came at a ceremony attended by military leaders from around the world. Her revolutionary training methods were being implemented by allied nations, extending her influence far beyond American military aviation. The girl who had been called a sim junkie was now considered a visionary leader. Maya's story reached its climax when she received the Air Force's highest honor for innovation in military training. The same officers who had once mocked her dedication to simulator training now applauded her achievements. Her journey from squadron outcast to Pentagon favorite demonstrated that persistence and innovation could overcome any obstacle. Thompson's downfall was swift and decisive. His campaign against Maya had exposed his limitations as a leader and his resistance to innovation. He was reassigned to a desk job at a remote air base, effectively ending his career prospects. The same prejudices that had driven his harassment of Maya ultimately led to his own professional destruction. Maya's vindication was complete when the F-35 program achieved full operational capability ahead of schedule. Her training methods had not only saved millions of dollars, but had also improved pilot readiness and combat effectiveness. The same simulators that had made her a target for mockery were now considered essential tools for national defense. The broader implications of Maya's story extended far beyond military aviation. Her experience demonstrated that innovation often comes from unexpected sources, and that institutional bias can blind organizations to valuable contributions. Her journey from squadron outcast to Pentagon consultant became a case study in overcoming prejudice through persistence and excellence. Maya's legacy would inspire countless pilots who faced similar challenges in their careers. Her story proved that dedication to excellence could overcome any obstacle, and that true expertise comes from embracing innovation rather than conforming to outdated traditions. The same qualities that made her a target for harassment had ultimately led to her greatest triumph. The transformation of Maya's reputation was complete when she was invited to speak at the Air Force Academy's graduation ceremony. Her speech about the importance of innovation and perseverance in military aviation was met with thunderous applause. The same methods that had made her a target for ridicule were now being taught to future generations of pilots. Maya's story concluded with her promotion to lieutenant colonel and appointment as Director of Advanced Training Systems for the entire Air Force. Her revolutionary methods would continue to influence military aviation for decades to come. The girl who had been mocked for her dedication to simulator training had become one of the most influential figures in modern military aviation. The final chapter of Maya's vindication came when Thompson approached her privately to apologize for his behavior. His campaign against her had not only failed, but had highlighted his own limitations as a leader. Maya accepted his apology graciously, while privately reflecting on the lessons learned about persistence, innovation, and overcoming institutional bias. Maya's journey from squadron outcast to Pentagon favorite became a legend in military aviation circles. Her story demonstrated that true expertise comes from embracing innovation rather than conforming to outdated traditions. The same simulators that had made her a target for harassment had ultimately led to her greatest triumph and revolutionized how America trained its fighter pilots. Maya Rodriguez stood before the assembled crowd at the Pentagon's annual Innovation Awards ceremony, her uniform decorated with ribbons that reflected her extraordinary journey. The same woman who had been mocked as a sim junkie just 2 years earlier was now being honored as the military's most innovative training developer. Her story had become legendary throughout the aviation community. The ceremony marked the culmination of Maya's transformation from squadron outcast to military aviation pioneer. Her simulator-based training methods had not only revolutionized F-35 pilot education, but had also been adopted by allied nations worldwide. The same techniques that had made her a target for harassment were now saving lives and improving combat effectiveness. As Maya accepted her award, she reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. The years of mockery and harassment had been painful, but they had also strengthened her resolve to prove that innovation could overcome institutional bias. Her dedication to simulator training had accidentally created the solution to one of the military's most pressing challenges. The audience included many of the same officers who had once dismissed her methods as video game skills. Their expressions now reflected genuine admiration and respect for her achievements. Maya's story had demonstrated that true expertise comes from embracing technological innovation rather than clinging to outdated traditions. In her acceptance speech, Maya spoke about the importance of perseverance in the face of skepticism and institutional resistance. She credited her success to the countless hours spent in simulators, developing combat strategies that would ultimately save pilots' lives. Her journey had proven that dedication to excellence could overcome any obstacle. The impact of Maya's innovations extended far beyond personal vindication to encompass broader implications for military culture. Her story challenged traditional assumptions about pilot training and demonstrated the value of embracing technological change. The same simulators that had made her a target for mockery were now considered essential tools for national defense. Maya's legacy would continue through the thousands of pilots who would benefit from her revolutionary training methods. Her simulator-based approach had fundamentally changed how the military prepared its aviators for combat. The girl who had been called a sim junkie had become the architect of modern fighter pilot education. The ceremony concluded with Maya receiving a standing ovation from an audience that included Pentagon leadership, foreign military officials, and her former squadron mates. Her transformation from squadron outcast to international aviation expert was complete. The same dedication that had made her a target for harassment had ultimately led to her greatest triumph. As Maya left the ceremony, she carried with her the satisfaction of knowing that her years of struggle had not been in vain. Her story would inspire future generations of pilots to embrace innovation and persevere through institutional bias. The same simulators that had once isolated her from her peers had ultimately connected her to pilots around the world. Maya Rodriguez had proven that true innovation often comes from the most unexpected places, and that persistence in the face of adversity can lead to extraordinary achievements. Her journey from sim junkie to Pentagon favorite would be remembered as one of the most remarkable vindication stories in military aviation history, inspiring countless others to pursue excellence despite facing skepticism and institutional resistance.